There's one that we know is frequently unbeatable. We saw it on display in the first half last night. I'm not talking about the Minshews. 3 dreaded words in football. Too much hockey. TMH. Too much hockey. We saw it for years with Ed, who would announce penalties in the form of quatrains. Look it up. Like Nostradamus, putting everything in quatrains. Talking about holding penalties like it's an essay. Now, Ed goes off into retirement. Here comes his son, Sean. I said it last week. He was the ref in Oakland. Chiefs, Raiders. TMH, too much hockey. We do not tune into NFL games to watch Sean Hockey grab his wrist to announce his umpteenth holding penalty and point in a certain direction. I know the coaches have seen on film all of these holding penalties called a lobster block is what it's being called, where they're holding on the back end of runs. Mike Zimmer said this week when he was on this subcommittee that suggested, a coaches subcommittee that suggested the competition committee, we need to get rid of all these holding penalties that are not being called. We need to get rid of these illegal holds that are not being called. Call these holding penalties. And he basically said, I think to Kevin Seifert of ESPN, don't care if there's too many penalties. The players have to adjust. And I said here in my 2 first downs this past week, Chris, were stop throwing flags, and I'm all in on Gardner Minshew, and we saw that in the first half last night. I don't care about the lobster block. Keep the lobster block if it's going to let these games be more watchable. And I love Zimmer, and I love all the coaches that want them. I don't even know who they are, but I just love most coaches who want to get rid of these lobster blocks, if that's what they're called. It's unwatchable. And guess who chimed in on that front last night? TB12, fresh to Twitter, took those 2 goat thumbs of his, grabbed his phone, I assume, too many penalties, just let us play, 4 exclamation points. Thankfully, he also hashtagged it properly, Tennessee vs. JAC. All of us at NFL Network appreciate the proper hashtag. We want to trend our game. Kind of don't appreciate when the GOAT then takes to Twitter and says he's turning the game off. Yeah. That's not good. We don't want you to turn the game off. We don't want you to turn off NFL Network. I'm turning off this game. I can't watch these ridiculous penalties anymore. Also, there were a couple of roughing the passer calls that were ridiculous too.
Yeah.
15 penalties in the first half, 12 accepted. Interestingly enough, TB12 does this. And by the way, I will say this as well. And I know whenever I pat my network and the league for which I do work for 16 years, when I pat them on the back, I'm accused of being a homer.
Sometimes.
This is an NFL Network exclusive game, folks. And everything that was talking about Tom Brady can't stand the penalties, can't stand the refereeing, turning off the NFL Network. The NFL Network put that on NFL Network last night, including former head of NFL refs Mike Pereira blasting the current officiating structure. All went out on NFL Network last night. That said, I'm wondering if a call came from within the 345 Park Avenue house down to Jacksonville, because after that tweet, poof, no more hockey league.
Where are all the flags?
NMH. I want NMH rather than TMH. No more hockey league. Third quarter was clean, and it was hockey league free. It was not commercial free, but hockey league free hour. That's great. That was more like it. So, 2 things. 1, what's with all these penalties? 2, is it possible a call came from within the house down to the house of the Jaguars to say knock it off?
For more of The Rich Eisen Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV for free on BR Live or download the Rich Eisen Show app.